Hi, this is Kathy Bakken. Thanks for joining me today. Do you know what it takes to be a successful baker? Are you a successful baker? Would you like to know some things that may help improve your baking abilities? I started baking around the age of 10 years old, probably because both Mom and I have a sweet tooth. And it was not unusual for, well, I shouldn't say it wasn't unusual. It's like every meal had to have dessert, or what Mom calls licky-dahs. So while I started early, by the time I was in junior high and had a home ec class, I was surprised at all the terms and things that I had to learn before the teacher would actually let us dig in and start cooking or baking anything. I was kind of disappointed, and I really thought it was somewhat of a waste of time, but in reality it was not. One of the first things to make sure that you're a successful baker is have everything ready. If your recipe calls for softened butter, make sure you have it. Make sure it's softened. Have all your ingredients out and preferably measured before you actually start. This way, if you're missing anything, you're not running around looking for substitutions or having to run to the store or something like that. Also, take a cue from Rachel Ray and use a garbage bowl. It really truly does make things easier. Don't substitute unless you know that the substitution will work. For example, I used to substitute margarine for butter, and sometimes it would work okay until margarine started changing and had actually too much of an oil content in water. And I couldn't understand what was happening to my wonderful chocolate chip cookies around the holidays, and that was actually it. Went back to butter and everything was fine. Reread and reread the recipe. Baking is really a science, so when a recipe calls for a level cup, make sure it's a level cup, not a heaping cup. Learn the different terms involved, and if you're not familiar with them, Google them. There's a difference between beating, creaming, stirring, folding, and sifting. If you're not familiar with the term, Google it and acquaint yourself with it. It will make a difference in your baking. There is a difference between baking powder and baking soda. This is one of the things where science comes in. Baking powder is alkaline and needs to have moisture and heat to actify and cause the production of CO2 and rise. Baking soda, I said that backwards. Baking powder needs an alkaline with it. I'm sorry, baking powder is an alkaline and needs something acid with it for it to create CO2 and cause something to rise. Baking soda uses moisture and heat to produce CO2. And there is a difference. If you live in a higher altitude, you'll notice that a lot of recipes have different ingredients or different quantities based upon altitude. And finally, verify your oven temperature. Put a little oven thermometer in there and make sure that it's accurate. There's no way that your baking can turn out good if your oven isn't quite up to par. I hope that some of these have been useful for you. This is the Kitchen Conversions transfer, and I'm actually making this for a gift for someone for Christmas. And I've already actually fuzzed my transfer. I kind of put that on a little wrinkled. But I'm going to do this on black canvas, and I've got a picture frame beneath it so that when I press on the canvas with my squeegee, there's some resistance. It's not, so I won't be stretching the canvas. I actually had intended on doing this on like a contact chalkboard contact paper so that she could put it inside of her cabinet, but I played around with that and actually found that it was very difficult to get the wrinkles out, and once I laid it down on my mat, then I'd have to pick it back up and somehow get the cover back on it to store it, and that was just absolutely crazy. So I've switched to this instead. And I think the canvas will work fine for her. This transfer will overlap a tiny bit, but that's fine. I'll still be able to get all the measurements on it the way that I want to. I mentioned that I fuzzed the transfer. All that is need to bring it down a teensy bit, is using a cloth. You could use a towel if you don't have a fuzzing cloth, but I actually use a special cloth. The rougher side is the fuzzing side to deliberately apply lint to the back of the transfer, and the other side is smoother for drying your transfers or for drying your chalkboards after cleaning them. I want to make sure this is on here nice and taut, no air bubbles in between anywhere. And I need to take that up to kind of look at it. Better lighting for me. So I'm going to smooth it down. And I don't feel or see any air bubbles, so I think this should be fine. Now my cousin's kitchen has a wall that's tiger eye. We don't actually have a color like that, but I'm going to mix up our orange peel paste and our shimmer bronze, and I think I can get it close to the color of her kitchen by doing that. I just need to be sure that I mix up enough. I don't want to mix up too much where I have excess left over, but I want to make sure that I have enough for the coverage of everything. I'm going to do the text in the tiger eye color and the dots in white to give it a little bit of life. Shimmer copper, not shimmer bronze. I don't know what I was thinking. If you have any questions or whatever, feel free to comment. I'll answer anything I can in regards to baking. Unfortunately, I don't get to do quite as much baking as I used to. Holidays used to be crazy. I'd make dozens and dozens and dozens of cookies, always leaving my favorite for the last, which maybe was a good thing, maybe not. I'm not quite sure. As usually by the time I got down to baking my peanut blossoms, I was too tired to care about anything else. And sometimes I made them and sometimes I didn't. The bronze is darkening it a little bit. I don't think it's going to give it enough of a shimmer though, but that's fine. I wasn't really looking for shimmer per se. It actually might be a little bit too dark for her shade of tiger eye. Let me add some more orange peel to that. You want your paste to be a consistency of like yogurt or sour cream. And I might have already mixed up a little bit too much here. If I have a substantial amount left over, I could put it in a container with a lid and just save it as my own special batch of mixed up chalk paste. I think that's the right color. Let me close up my orange peel and clean up a bit. I usually start off of the silk screen. The turquoise or the teal part of the transfer is vinyl, and the clear part is silk screen. As you can see, our paste a little bit goes a long way. And then I come back and clean up, make sure there's no lines, make sure everything has gone through the silk screen, and put any excess back into the container. But as I'm doing more text on here, I'll just use this for my next section. Oops, I think I need a little bit more anyway. Basically, if you could butter toast, you can chalk. Simple, quick, doesn't require a lot of supplies. Our chalk paste can be used on chalkboards, of course, which is where I do most of my projects. We have premium chalkboards that come with a 50-year warranty that are also magnetic, and then we have some lower end chalkboards also. Some are white, some are black. We have a very nice selection. But our chalk paste can also be used on wood, glass, metal, basically any hard, non-porous surface. And for porous surfaces, such as fabric, we have ink that can be used. As long as it can be heat set, it'll be permanent. So our inks are great for t-shirts, any type of fabric actually. Canvas, like canvas bags or canvas banners, I still use paste, but I could use ink if I wanted to. Someone last year in our group did this amazing quilt where they inked different squares with sayings and things, and then quilted it all together. It was awe-inspiring. So what's your favorite thing to bake? Are you a cake person, cookies, pies, fancy desserts? One thing I haven't tried yet, and it's really not baking, but sugar designs, cooked sugar, like as a nest over a baked item. I'm waiting for an excuse to try that. I love making trifles, which really isn't baking per se. It's a quick and easy way to make dessert. Of course, you do the pastry cream, but you don't bake it. Nothing like homemade pastry cream. If you want to cheat, you could use yogurt or pudding, I suppose, but real pastry cream really does make a big difference. One thing I noticed with cookies, though, interestingly enough, I've always had a gas oven, but my cousin's chocolate chips turned out better than mine. I remember this from years ago, and I couldn't figure out what her secret was. We used the same recipe. I watched and helped her make them a little bit, but they were so much better. I was like, wow, what did she do? What did I miss? And what I found out later is an electric oven is better for baking than gas. Will usually give you better results. My new oven is a convection oven, and I find that a little bit different. I have to make sure that I cook things at a little bit lower temperature, and I'm still getting used to it. Holding my squeegee at the wrong angle. I don't know where I all of a sudden picked up that habit. I need to hold it more like this instead of more than up and down. Pushes it through the silk screen and gives you a nice flat surface. Good. And I guess I did mix up a little bit too much tiger eye, didn't I? If you know someone who might enjoy this project or some of the baking tips, please feel free to share the love and let them know about this video. I need to clean my fingers a bit here. Clean up with chalk paste is a snap. Even cleaning the transfers is very easy. Basically, all it is putting them in a water bath, rinsing off as much chalk as you can, and then cleaning them up with a Clorox wipe. You want to clean the front side first, leave the sticky side for last. And because you've applied lint to the back of the sticky side, you want to make sure that you remove all that lint when you're cleaning it with a Clorox wipe, because removing the lint reactivates the adhesive. Our transfers are multi-use, so in general, if you clean your transfers appropriately, you can get 8 to 10 uses out of the same transfer. I misspoke. It's actually 8 to 12 or more uses out of the same transfer. And I am struggling to open up my white chalk paste. So I think we'll go with almond instead of white. See, if I had followed my baking suggestions, I would have had all my pastes opened up in advance, and I would have realized that my white, that the lid was stuck on my white. Okay, I need a real tiny squeegee. I've taken this one and actually cut it in half because I wanted some narrow little area to go through and get these little dots. A narrow little squeegee to go through this area and catch all the little dots. Excuse me for one moment. Thank you for waiting. Mom's watching TV waiting for the Christmas parade. That doesn't appear to have started yet. It's actually, it looks like it's running late. And she's got the chills. We just haven't acclimated to the cooler temperatures yet. And it's really not that bad for the Chicago area. It's just hard getting used to right now. Oops, and I keep dropping this little squeegee. Clean that up so that I can clean my dots better here. I don't think I have any light lines on my dots. I don't think that's an issue. I'm leaving a little excess paste there. That's fine. I just want to be careful I don't pick up any of that tiger eye color, because I do not want to mix it with my white chalk paste, or this is linen chalk paste, when I return any to the container. Almond chalk paste, actually. So I have to be a little bit careful here. Oops, that's getting a little close. Okay. And I think I'm done here. Let's see what this looks like. Oops, the last little dot here. Right in the middle. Maybe I do have it down. Okay. Let me make sure I don't have any chalk paste on my fingers, and we'll lift this transfer and take a look at the results. I had a frame underneath it. Fit perfectly. You just had to move it up and down a little bit. When you lift the transfer, you want to always lift from the top or the bottom, and then basically, or the left or right, and pull it kind of like a 90-degree angle. I need a place to find purchase here with my fingers to hold this down as I continue to lean it up. Oh, very good. Now let me put this in my water bath. I want to make sure that I do not get it to fold on itself, so I want to keep folded together. My water bath's a little small, so that the adhesive does not stick to itself. There we go. That's fine. It has a little bit of a distressed look to it, and that's how the transfer is. That's perfectly normal. Are you in my VIP group? If you're not, consider joining it and joining the fun. In my VIP group, I could offer special pricing, bundles, extra tips and tricks, more videos, and things of that nature. If you'd like to be part of my VIP group, just type the letters VIP below this video, or private message me VIP, and I will send you a link to join. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you have any questions regarding chalking this kitchen conversions transfer, or any baking questions, or even suggestions, I'd love to hear them. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful Christmas and a wonderful life.